back. This is Boomer Life on CL 650.
Shake, rattle, and roll. Shake, rattle, and roll. Shake, rattle, and roll.
Hey, and welcome back to the show on CL 650. We're talking about Opal by Element at the corner of King Ed and Cambie. It's a retirement to living that is going to be opening in the spring of 2019, so just 2 years away. And we have Candy Ho, who was our constant here on the radio show, and Veronica Duck-Ancesso is back, her second time. How was the first time? Did you listen to it?
Oh, yes.
And you were great, weren't you?
I hope I was.
She's always
I'm
great.
always
She's
great.
just a natural. Yes.
All right. So I want to find out about events you put on to get people to mingle. Now, okay, before we get to that,
That's fun.
when someone moves in, is it intimidating to be the newbie? It's like the first year of high school. You know, you get there and you're like, there's this whole group of people that knows everybody else and you don't know anybody. You're the new person. Is it intimidating, and is it easy to make friends, or are little groups already formed? What's your experience with that?
Well, because I've been in the business for so long, I understand those hurdles when you are a newbie, let's say in a freshman at school, or even just into a community when you move into a new house.
Yes.
And prior to that, and I talked a little bit about introducing other residents to the new resident, having dinners, and throughout this process. So, for example, Opal is not going to be open until 2019, but perhaps I can connect other residents that can come over for tea.
And you love your tea.
I love tea.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the point of the
champagne.
focus groups too, because the focus groups they sign up for whatever topic that they're interested in, whatever their hobbies and passions are. And not only do they get to shape that programming, what does this culinary menu look like? How many times, like how many weeks does it pass by before you change up the whole menu for variety and so on? Or like yoga, what does that look like? But other than actually being part of that programming and planning, they also get to meet other people already way before the building opens to meet the friends who are also already interested in that.
Because I think that's we're talking about people who are a little older. They're maybe a little intimidated, maybe scared even, and then you're there to help break down those walls.
Yes, and that's why resident services manager is really important in a community, as well as having a welcoming committee and developing that in the community.
So when we are open, the welcoming we'd work with that resident and see if they're introvert, maybe they don't want a grand welcome, but if they want the grand welcome, we'll have like a new resident.
You would want a grand welcome, Candy. I can tell.
Not necessarily. I'll just get right in. You've already welcomed or not, I'm already welcome.
I want a tea party.
So let me ask you about the event. So I'm sure there's New Year's Eve, there's people have birthdays, there's different religious celebrations throughout the year, but you must have other events that you do, right?
Oh, there's Mediterranean events, also where people are dressed up in different ethnic costumes. We've also done Las Vegas night. We've had chocolate fountains. We've had dancers with the big sequins hats and outfits. So that really made, and dancers, I think everybody's familiar with Dal Richards.
Yes,
We've been with him I've known him for years. And every single year I always take a new picture with him. I'm so happy.
Yeah, we do Dal Richards for Christmas.
We should stop. Dal Richards passed away.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I do know that.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we should pick that up, okay? So I'll just take my part out. Yes, wonderful to have that connection. And so what happens at Vegas night? I got to know.
Well, you have the dancers in, and they dance around during dinner, and the ladies are in their sequin gowns. Of course, all the men stop eating their dinner. They get up and they dance. Even the ones that have walkers, let's say, they really can boogie. They really enjoy it. So again, it's just really for our residents to really have something to look forward to and really enjoy it. And during special events, you get to invite your grandchildren, your children.
Well,
so
for us, it's not even special events. It's going to be every day.
It's all the time.
But I'd like to add that also, I think in conversation with you, you've talked about some residences where the staff were maybe not as engaged or the management are not as engaged. But our approach, for sure, Element is we are one big family, and our GM,
feel it.
not GM, our VP Ops, Greg, is a Greek, and he's already envisioning the grand opening where he'll do Greek dancing and bring out those plates, and then my father, he
The legendary Don Ho.
Yeah, the Don Ho would come out and sing and dance with all of the residents, and it's all about all of us being part of the community too, where our heart is in it and we make the relationships.
You actually can really see it and feel it even during the launch. There's Dawn speaking with all the residents, showing them around. Greg was there. A lot of the people from corporate team from Element came down and was just mingling with everyone.
So I'm guessing romance blossoms at these events.
Yes.
So how do you see that often?
I actually went through something like that. It was pretty fabulous. I think both of the residents had their spouses at the time, but one sadly, unfortunately, passed away, and one was going through a divorce. And so these two, actually a relationship blossomed. There was a diamond engagement ring. There was a engagement party, and then a wedding.
Nice.
So going through that. And then on sort of like the funnier side of things, in the licensed care, there was this one resident, and you talked a little bit about fitting in and everything. So there was this one resident, and the nurse kept asking him every day who gives him his medication and says, "Oh, how are you fitting in? How do you like, And he says, "Oh, I'm really, really liking it. And I met this wonderful lady, and we seem to see him with this other resident all the time, sitting, having tea and dinner, and they go out on bus trips together. And he says, "Oh, I really, really starting to really love her and adore her." And because he's on the licensed care side. And so the nurse says, "Oh, well, who is this lady? What's her name?" He goes, "I don't know."
Doesn't matter.
He says, "I don't know." But the fact that doesn't matter because of the companionship.
So you must have had some interesting characters in your 26 years. So you had the Sylvia of the Sylvia Hotel?
Correct, the daughter.
So that it was named after her, the
Correct.
hotel? Right.
Like the stories she told me was the hotel, her father named the hotel after her. And there's also a really famous fashion designer who I met and worked with. And what's really interesting, her school is here in Vancouver. And she used to tell me that she's working on something. So when I visited her, she would have her patterns laid out on the floor. And a week later, I would say, "How are you doing?" And she goes, "Oh, look at the dress." She would have made up this whole gown.
Wow.
Another really famous person is somebody that used to be the goaltender of the Millionaires, otherwise known as the Vancouver Canucks.
Right.
Oh, wow.
So that's the team that won the Stanley Cup, because the Canucks haven't won, but the Millionaires did win. Right.
Right. And someone's grandmother, actually the grandson, used to play with the BC Lions.
Oh, yeah.
That was wonderful because when they won the
Grey Cup.
Grey Cup, every team member actually gets possession of the Grey Cup. And so I just remember this procession of cars rolling up to the community, and there was a big crowd, and I think BCTV was on there capturing the moment, and they brought in the Grey Cup, and we had a big party, and
these guys are 6'6" and 300 pounds.
Huge.
You had to have extra chicken
Buffets
for
or
that
nothing.
lunch. Yeah.
So really wonderful. Worked with the very first doctor who was accepted into UBC.
Really?
The very first female architect. So very, very exciting opportunities.
And they have
for me.
stories to tell.
That's our
had
joy.
to.
We get the privilege of
And I actually
learning.
have autographed autobiographies from these
Wow.
residents.
Such
so
an
wonderful.
honor.
Yeah,
Yes.
such an honor.
And that's the thing is we always talk in this show about we sort of take older people and put them on a shelf, right? And they've got so many stories and
the value of who they are just by being them. I keep saying, like, I don't know why there's this stigma that as you're older, you're no longer contributing, you're a burden to society. It's so untrue. Just by being here.
Yeah. And what is that?
So
What
much.
is that? The number should not defy who you are and your age and your capabilities.
Yeah.
It's funny. My dad is 84, and I talked to him yesterday, and he was remembering a story of when my brother was 9 in 1973, and he's recalling this, and I'm like, he's got this memory. And if you want to find, my son is in high school, and he had to do socials on World War I. I said, call Granddad. He is an encyclopedia of all this stuff. If you ever want to find out, and so you just have to sit and talk to them.
That's the greatest learning for children too. Instead of a textbook, hear it from somebody who actually went through it. Right?
It's true, and it's very exciting. It's just my mother-in-law, who is 84. She's had a hip replacement, and that hasn't stopped her. She goes out every day. If she goes on trips, she's just recently been to Europe and back, and she talked about going through the World War, where she was actually hiding in the forest and trying to, get food. And that's pretty scary. And so to actually hear that, we're just hearing it, but to actually physically live it is entirely different. So all of her grandchildren are sitting around listening to her.
Oh, they got them to put their phones down for 5 minutes.
Right. Right.
I have so many family friends who eat so fast, and I asked them how come, and they would tell me because, well, when it was the war and it was famine and they were running away, they would have to just get it all in 20 seconds or not have any or be bombed. Right? Those are the stories that you see their resilience, right?
Yes.
Well, that's the magic of meeting these people, and I'm sure it's going to be fascinating for the next 2 years before Opal by Element opens. Candy Ho, we'll have you back. Your dad is coming back. The real Don Ho is going to be back. All right. And Veronica Duck and Seisu. Did I get it close?
Duck and Sasso, pretty close. You're good.
Getting there. I have to have you back so I can practice your last name.
Portuguese next time.
Oh, no thanks. I don't think I could do that. I could do
Veronica da Conceição.
Pretty good. There. Zach.
If you could bring me Portuguese buns, I like those.
Oh, Portuguese buns with the meat and the olive oil.
Okay, let's break for lunch. That's all the time we have. We'll speak to you next time on CL 650.